Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into a genuinely fascinating and, honestly, incredibly practical framework from Thomas Alethea's book, 12 Steps to a Good Life. Now, Aletheia draws on this massive array of philosophy and psychology throughout the book, but we're going to zero in on one specific, highly visual concept he uses to explain life balance. It's actually a powerful metaphor originally created by Jonathan Fields, and Aletheia uses it to just brilliantly distill the whole complexity of human needs down into something we can actually picture, and more importantly, something we can manage. If you've ever struggled to figure out why your life feels kind of out of alignment, you're going to absolutely love this approach.
So why do we always feel like something is missing? It's a feeling almost all of us know, right? You might have the job, the relationship, the apartment, literally everything that's supposedly on the checklist for a successful life. And yet, underneath it all, there's this quiet, persistent baseline anxiety. Just this sense that you're somehow out of balance or like you're forgetting something essential. Now, it's super common to assume that this feeling means there's something fundamentally wrong with you, or that you've just made a terrible mistake somewhere along the way. But the source material we're looking at today argues the exact opposite.
Okay, let's dive into this. Aletheia actually calls this feeling the perennial struggle. It's described as a deep, lifelong tension, a quiet, persistent ache. And the author makes an absolutely crucial point here. This isn't a personality flaw. It's not a disease you need to cure. It is simply part of being human. It's just the natural tension between who we are and who we want to be, between our fears and our desires. So the goal of a good life isn't to magically erase this struggle, it's to learn how to manage it. But to do that, we have to understand what our foundational needs actually are, which brings us to the core framework of our explainer.
Part 1. Meet the 3 buckets.
Let's shift our paradigm for a second. Normally, when we think about our needs, we imagine this endless, confusing list, right? Diet, exercise, career, romance, hobbies, spirituality. The list goes on and on. It's totally overwhelming. But this metaphor proposes that our basic human needs aren't some scattered checklist. Instead, they're 3 distinct vessels that we carry with us every single day. Vitality, connection, contribution. This is the rule of 3 applied directly to life balance. Basically, every single action you take, every habit you form, and every nagging feeling of discontent you experience can be traced back to one of these 3 buckets. So before we look at the mechanics of how these work together, let's quickly unpack exactly what goes into each one.
The first bucket is vitality. This is all about your physical and mental health. It's your energy, your resilience, and your overall sense of calm. Think of this as the water that powers the whole shebang. It's the sleep you're getting, the nutrition you put into your body, your ability to manage stress, and your physical movement. I mean, if this bucket is full, you wake up feeling vibrant and actually capable of taking on the day. Whenever we talk about replenishing our physical and mental energy, this is the specific vessel we're pouring into.
Moving on to bucket number 2, connection. This holds our relationships, our friendships, and our deep, deep human need for a sense of belonging. As biological and social creatures, we just cannot survive in isolation. This bucket gets filled when we spend quality, present time with family, when we share a laugh with a close friend, or when we just feel seen and understood by our community. But it requires active effort. We literally have to pour our time and our vulnerability into our relationships to keep this second bucket from draining dry.
Let's move to and see how this builds into our third and final vessel, contribution. This is all about using your unique gifts and talents in a truly meaningful way. It's that fundamental human drive to matter. Now, this doesn't automatically mean your day job, though. Hey, it certainly can be. But it could also be volunteering, mentoring, creating art, or simply raising a family. It's really anything that allows you to put your unique stamp on the world and offer value to others. We have this innate, built-in need to feel that our existence has a purpose beyond just surviving day to day.
And this idea is perfectly captured by a quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson that Aletheia includes in the book. The purpose of life is not to be happy, it is to be useful, to be honorable, to be compassionate. This ties directly into that contribution bucket. It suggests that true, lasting meaning doesn't come from just chasing these fleeting moments of happiness. It comes from actually making a difference. When you are useful and compassionate, your contribution bucket fills up, providing a deep, deep sense of fulfillment that mere pleasure just cannot match.
Part 2. The 3 laws of the buckets.
Now, what's really interesting about this is, it's not just about filling these vessels. We actually have to contend with their physics. So, let's slow down and look at the gravity of these rules. First, the buckets constantly leak. Yeah, you can't just go to the gym for a month, fill up your vitality bucket, and say, cool, I'm done for the year. The water is always draining. It requires constant daily maintenance. Second, the emptiest bucket drags the others down. Essentially, you cannot isolate these areas of your life. And third, The buckets never lie. You can pretend your fast food diet isn't affecting your mood, or that your life is absolutely picture-perfect for social media, but at the water level, it always reveals the truth.
And that brings us to a major realization about life balance. Most of us are, quite honestly, chasing the fantasy of a fixed, permanent state of perfection. We think balance means arriving at this magical finish line where everything is perfectly stable forever. But the reality is that balance is a highly dynamic state. It's an active process. Because the buckets are constantly leaking, balance is simply the ongoing effort of checking your water levels and constantly refilling where necessary. Ignoring any single part of your life means that specific bucket empties out. And remember that second law? When one empties, it throws your entire equilibrium completely off.
And this brilliantly illustrates that exact point, the second law of the buckets. Imagine, for a second, you are absolutely crushing it at the gym and eating perfectly. Your vitality is at a solid 90%. You have a great social life and a loving partner, so your connection is at 80%. But you are stuck in a job you absolutely hate, doing work that feels totally meaningless to you. So your contribution is sitting at a dismal 10%. Well, according to the framework, that 10% contribution bucket is going to inevitably drag your vitality and connection down to its low watermark. The stress of feeling useless will ruin your sleep, which drains your vitality. Your resentment will bleed into your conversations, which damages your connection. Your life experience isn't an average of the three. It is completely limited by your emptiest bucket.
Part 3. Finding your lowest bucket.
Understanding these laws is incredibly empowering because it finally gives us a real diagnostic tool. Instead of just feeling this vague sense of dread or overwhelm about our lives, we can actually pinpoint the specific problem. We are no longer fighting shadows here, we're looking for a leak. Aletheia suggests conducting what he calls a basic needs inventory. It's an honest, unvarnished look at your life right now. You sit down and you evaluate your vitality, your connection, and your contribution. You have to look right past the stories you tell yourself and observe the actual water levels. Are you exhausted? Are you lonely? Are you bored and uninspired? By taking this inventory, you locate the specific leaks. And once you know which bucket is dangerously low, you can stop wasting energy overfilling the others. You can direct your focus, your habits, and your routines to start patching your specific leaks.
So the crucial point is this: balance isn't something you magically find. It's something you actively manage. It's a daily practice of awareness. So I want to leave you with a final crucial question to think about today. Which of your buckets, vitality, connection, or contribution, is leaking the fastest right now? Because once you identify that, you know exactly where your focus needs to go next. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and good luck tending to your buckets.